So a few days ago, I was hanging out with my friends. And on that hangout, we decided that it would be kind of interesting if I went and texted this girl who I kind of knew, kind of didn't, right? But the interesting about that was that on that hangout was actually this one guy who might as well be texting girls professionally, right? He does it so often and he has so much experience in it that he might as well be doing it as a fucking full-time job, right? And he tells me it's gonna help me out, I'm gonna text a bit, but he's gonna help me out. He's gonna, try to kind of arrange a date for me, right? So I'm like, I'm down, why not? It's gonna be a cool little experiment. So I end up texting her. And through just our conversation, through the guy helping me out with the messaging, I realized just the absolute mountain of information that can be learned on this specific topic on texting that can be found absolutely nowhere on the internet, or at least I never found it through years, right? Almost 4 years that I've been like learning and improving at social skills and all of these other areas. I've never found this information on any YouTube videos, in any books, from any coaching or anything. This is something that I learned literally like in practice, like in the field, right? And so in this video, I'm going to teach you and tell you the exact stuff I learned because you will genuinely not be able to, or at least I haven't been able to find this information anywhere online. And it's effective, like super effective because yeah, the guy through just messaging got me a date with this girl, right? Right? Who I've like never met in real life. So essentially, the first thing that you need to understand, right? And the first thing that I want to clear out for you is that I feel like a lot of guys, myself included up until recently, had or have this belief, this limiting belief or fear that you don't really want to text girls because you're afraid that she's gonna screenshot your message and then she's gonna send it to like a group chat and everyone's gonna laugh at you and all the girls are gonna like judge you and stuff like that. And yeah, sadly, that is gonna happen. It's just an objective fact that this is what girls do. When you send her a message, she does two things, right? And this is what happened when I sent the message. 24 hours basically passed before she actually answered it, right? I then, met up again with like the guy and he helped me messaging and everything. But 24 hours passed. What do you think happened in those 24 hours? Do you think she was busy? She was like super busy doing like grinding on her business 24 hours? Do you think she was like hibernating, sleeping for like 24 hours? Do you think she was maybe on a trip around the world and she just didn't have Wi Fi? No. She saw the message maybe a few hours after I sent it and then proceeded to first check out my entire profile on Instagram, check out my highlights, my pictures, everything, which I optimized thankfully a few months earlier, which I made an entire guide that you can I made an entire guide on how to actually optimize your Instagram, which you can find on my channel. I might even like have it pop up here or just at the end of the video. But she did that first, and then she called up a few of her friends, probably said, like, called them up, been like, hey, this guy texted me, showed them the text message, got their opinion, and then after the culmination of all of these things, then she decided to actually answer me. That is the first thing that happens, and that's always going to be happening. No matter what girl you text, she's always first going to check out your profile, who you are, and then she's going to kind of, talk to her friends about it and send it to her group chat probably and just discuss it with them before actually answering it. So that's something that you're just going to have to accept. The second thing, which is very important, which is the actual like first practical tip with it. This is what you have to keep in mind, right? And this is something that I actually did find online from this YouTuber called Hamza. But of course, it's an important thing. What you have to realize is that you're not texting this girl. Your objective isn't to text her, it's to get her on a date. So you gotta remember, you're not texting her just to text her. You're texting her to get her on a date. Meaning that if you spend the next 24 hours, or let's say the next week, texting her, you're texting her every day, and you think, oh, you're being so productive because she keeps answering. No. The productive thing is you getting her on a date. It doesn't matter if you send 2 messages or 22 messages. The important thing is that you get her on a date. And the sooner that you can do it, and fewer messages that you can do it, better. So the best thing here is to literally just be direct. Literally, the message that I sent was like, the guy helping, the first message was something chill, like something along the lines of like, hey, because we kind of we didn't really know each other, but we live relatively close. So it was some message like something about mutual friends, whatever. Like I remember you talking to my friend here and whatever. I thought you sounded cool, so I wanted to send you a message. Then she replied, and then literally within like 2 messages, I just sent like, let's meet up. And after that, she was just like, okay, I'm down. After that, the rest of the messaging was literally just logistics. Where, when, how, what are we gonna do, how are we gonna do it, and that's it, just logistics. Boom, once you set that up, the date was set up. And the messaging took like, once the 24 hours passed and she actually answered my first message, we set everything up within the next half an hour. Simple as that. And that is the essence of it. You just need to be direct and just in the fewest possible words, just get to that golden question of let's meet up, let's go for a cup of coffee, are you free tomorrow, whatever. After that, you just set up the logistics, how, when, where, and boom, that's it. That is the entire secret of texting girls. Now, the opening message is probably the most important one. But in most cases, if you set up your Instagram in a good way, which again, as I said, I've got a full guide on that on my channel, that should be able to carry you decently enough to where you can send basically anything. That's not like criminal, like you're not gonna send her like something like you have nice legs, something fucking weird like that. But if you can send, even sending something like hi, how are you, which is like the most generic one, if your Instagram profile is decent enough, and maybe let's say you're from the same town, maybe you're kind of popular, you got good word around you, that should carry you by itself. So you shouldn't overthink it. That's the most important thing. Never overthink any of this stuff. Another important thing in messaging is just make it playful. A lot of the time, the girl might end up being a little bit mean, or she might end up kind of giving you like a shit test. This is something I learned from, I think it was from this book called The Game by Neil Strauss, which is like a book about attracting girls. Sometimes they'll just give you shit tests, which is essentially like they'll try to piss you off a bit to see how you react. The best thing to do is just play it off, be kind of playful. Literally, like she might kind of say something mean. Like you might be like, let's meet up here, and she'll be like, can you come pick me up with your car? And you're like, I don't have a car. And then she says something like, what, you're broke. This is kind of like a shit test, which the best thing you can do is just, again, playfully just play it off. Just be like, haha, not yet, but I'm on the grind. Or, turn it into a joke. Just see to it that you just do not get offended, because what she's trying to do is she's trying to see like, if you are kind of insecure about it, if you're like gonna get it, because if you get easily offended, that means that you're kind of insecure about it. That's what she's trying to see. But if you can turn it into a joke, then you just show her that you're like extra confident and everything. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. Make everything playful. Another thing as well in my mindset that I learned from these kind of this experience that I had was, I asked two guys, right? Two different guys who also, as I said, like the first guy from the story, they may as well be doing texting girls professionally from how much they do it. And I asked them both for a tip. The first guy told me that the best way to text girls was to send like the kind of picture messages on Instagram. You know how you can send a picture and then add some text? He said that that's the best way to text girls, because then she can't see what you wrote until she opens it. She can't screenshot it, because it's like you can't screenshot like the pictures on Instagram. It's like not an option. And he listed other benefits. And when I asked him about just sending normal messages, he says never do that. He said never do that. It doesn't work. And then literally like the next day, I'm sitting down with this other guy who also has a ton of experience, and I asked him for a tip. And he gives me the exact opposite. He tells me, when you're texting girls, literally just text girls, normal messaging, add some emojis, be a little bit playful. And when he asked about sending like these pictures and stuff, he said never send it. It's dumb. And bro even proceeded to just text a random girl, find a random girl on Instagram and start texting her, spend like an hour texting her just to show me that, yeah, it does work this way. And what I realized is that any way it can work. The most important thing is that you just know what you're doing and that you don't overthink it. This way can work, that way can work, a third way that I didn't even find out about. There's probably a third way or a fourth way that it could work, but in essence, anything could work as long as you know how to do it. So that just leaves you to learn the information and get the experience to get good at it. Whichever way you want to do it, anything could work as long as you don't overthink it and as long as you just learn to do it effectively. And just for sticking around until the end of the video, I'm just going to give you like an extra pro tip. When it comes to grammar and when it comes to, typos and stuff like that, don't try too hard to make perfect grammar. Just by messing up a letter here or misspelling a word, sometimes you can just make it seem a little bit more authentic, especially if it's like you're typing really quick and it's like a big word. Sometimes just having a typo can make the message a little bit more authentic because it gets the kind of vibe that you don't really care. You're just kind of a chill ass guy who's just texting real quick. He doesn't really care. Because if every word is perfect, they're just gonna kind of get the idea that you're like an autistic, needy guy who triple checks every word so it's perfectly spelled and he has like the acupunctures and whatnot. It's like just text the same way that you would text your bro. If you added a letter or you remove a letter or you misspell a word, you don't really care, as long as the sentence can be understood. So here's your action step for this video. Send a message to any girl who you'll probably have some girl who you've been thinking about sending a message to. Just send a message within the next 24 hours. And if you don't know what to send, literally just send something as simple as, "Hi, how's your day going?" Or "What's up?" That's it. All right, that's my advice for right now. That's what I can give you with the current knowledge that I have. It might change as I learn more about this, but that's the advice that I can give you right now. Action step, do it within the next 24 hours. If you found this video helpful, I think you'll find a lot of value in this video right here, which is also, it's probably going to be the Instagram video that I spoke about, like the full guide. You can check that out to know how to optimize your Instagram. If you want to learn more from me, meet other guys on the same journey, check out my free community, link in the description. You can even hop on a call with me, click on the subscribe button, and do the work.